Okay, now we're reconnecting. Alright. Sorry guys, a little bit of technical difficulty there. Okay, now we're reconnecting. Trying different software out today, so bear with us. So for those of you that are new to our channel, thanks for subscribing. So my name is Tony. This is Taylor, Brittany, and Michaela's over here.
You can't see me.
We're part of Giving Chances Farms, okay? So, I don't know why it's got like such a small screen, but
I think it's the way they foam.
the computer app for Streamlabs wasn't allowing me to connect into live stream tonight, so I ended up downloading it to my cell phone and using my iPhone to do this live tonight. So I've been working on this all week to basically get to where I'm at today. It has worked all week long, and now it just decided it didn't want to work tonight. So we're gonna do like most things around here on the farm and adapt and overcome, right? So let's see who all we got on here. I think I can see.
There's 3. So me and 2 other people.
Alright, so I can at least talk to you guys still through the computer that way too. So we've been making some changes around here this week. I'm on vacation right now from work, so we've been trying to get that to-do list caught up. With that, that's where the videos for swapping out the posts that were broke off for our privacy fence, moving some cows a little bit more since I've been here. We got some mulch moved again, things like that. We had a break this weekend from the farmers markets, so that's why we decided to go ahead and do another question and answer live. So let's see. One of the questions that we've had on a few of our videos lately was when it comes to the bees, we were asked how often do we feed the bees throughout the winter. Basically, once it gets cold and stays that way around the 40-degree mark, we won't feed the bees any liquid until it warms up above that. So if we need to feed them anything once it gets cold, then we will switch over to either candy board or something along that lines, where we would put do like a mountain camp sugar method. So we would put our feeder shim around there, put a newspaper across there, and then dump a 4-pound bag of sugar on top of the newspaper and kind of spritz it a little bit with just a little bit of water, just enough to make the crystals stay there. And then basically the moisture in the hive would come up there, harden that sugar, and make it something usable for the bees. If you don't do that and the granules fall down in there, they think it's a waste, and they will actually carry it out the front when it's warm enough. So but other than that, we've been trying to prep for the next couple of weeks worth of farmers market. We have next week's farmer market, and then the following weekend we have the Frankton farmers market is going to be having a winter market. So I did, right before this come on, I was actually out in the garage and doing a little bit of turning today. So these are the newest items that I've turned here. A couple snowmen. So we've got, and this one here, I'm not sure if you guys can see it on the camera or not, but it actually has like a little heart shape on it there close to the face. So there'll be a video coming out on that. Like I said, we just did finish the video, so I didn't have a chance to edit it yet, and it'll be coming out, I believe it'll be Tuesday. So sorry, trying to multitask here. So, but we've been doing what we can to get different software available to us. That way we can change the way our videos look, make them a little bit friendlier for the viewer, and also make the production quality look a little bit better. So we have, I don't know if you guys have noticed over the last month or a little over a month, almost 2 months now, where we have been using a different editing software, so we're allowed to able to add some music into some of the spots, especially where like I'm doing something on the tractor and the tractor's running, so that way it you don't have to sit there and watch just listening to the tractor noise. We can actually put a little bit of music involved in it. But what kind of questions do you guys have for us tonight? That was one of the few that I remember. Let's see, the other thing that did come up on the video where we were exchanging posts for the privacy fence, we got on the subject of posts with one of the viewers, and he did recommend that for his farm fencing, for his corner posts and even his gate posts, he has actually started doing all concrete post, so that way it takes out the need for your extra brace post, and honestly would just last a lot longer than our typical wooden post, because what we get in the stores today is a lot less, the wood doesn't last near as long as it used to, even though it's pressure treated, but it's younger wood that they're using, so it's not as dense as the older stuff was, so we'll see how it goes. So we'll see. But
Oh yeah, you could also back to the feeding the bees. About the winter patties.
oh yeah, the other thing that we can do during the winter, and like last year we did some winter patties in there as well. This year we're actually going to try, we need to get back to the supply store to pick it up, but they actually are offering the winter patties, instead of actually coming already pattied out and having the wax paper on it, they actually are selling it by the buckets this year, so that way we can I'm not sure on how much the snowmen are, because I just finished turning them, so I haven't had a chance to set a price for them yet. We'll have to take a look at that. This was actually a test batch to see if I could even do it. The last one we did, I actually cut the piece down and actually turned one snowman off of that piece of wood. The one I did, these two snowmen actually came out of one piece of wood, turned on the lathe at the same time, and then we just cut them apart. So But back to the winter patties. It actually comes in a bucket this go around. That way you can either take your hive tool in there and scoop out just what you need for each hive and then put it in the hives. Or you can make your own patties out of it, whatever you want to do with it that way. So, we'll see how that part of it goes. But for the winter market, we were trying to add a few more items to the list. So I'm going to see about over the next week trying to get more of these snowmen turned and possibly even trying artesian like Christmas tree designs out of some more of the pieces of wood that we have out there. So we have a few pieces of firewood out there still that from a tree that's just recently been cut down within the last month. That it's not quite dry yet, but in that regards though it hasn't tried to dry out too quick and split, so I can still get out there and get to it quick enough. Then I can try to paint the ends of it, that way the water doesn't leak out too quick and I can actually start drying it and get it to where it needs to be to turn. So we'll see how that part of it entails. The wood turning side of it's new to us, but we're trying to add that to our availability at the farmers market. So it'll just be another item that we can try to offer for sale. So because the girls, like, they're wearing their headbands that Taylor makes. Michaela does crocheting to sell there, and she also does videos on here of the crocheted items. Taylor has a video of her making the headband part of it, at least.
Headband /man.
Yeah, and then over the winter we plan on doing a few more cooking videos. That way I can show off the smoker a little bit more, which is fun for me. So we were able to get one of our cows processed and actually have it back in the freezer now, so that'll give me the opportunity to make some things like meatloaf. I've got a pretty good recipe for meatloaf, so next time I get ready to do that, I'll make sure there's a video for that. There was a video here recently where I smoked a couple sirloin steaks out of our cow. So, and then Brittany and the girls will probably do a little bit of baking and have those videos on there as well. I know tonight they were prepping homemade cinnamon rolls for tomorrow morning, so let's see. How soon's the next cow due for the calf? We have another cow that Cheyenne, she should be due by the middle of December, to the best of our guess. So, and that will end our fall calving. The way it's been in the past, we do chocolate and Sunday of our cows. They normally calf in the springtime, and then it was Cheyenne and Angel that was our fall calvers. Angel, she ended up not getting bred back as quick and was actually a spring calver this year. So when it come time for 4-H to be over with, Angel was Taylor's cow, and after she calved, there was a gentleman who's bought 2 calves off of us, 1 per year the last 2 years, that offered to take the cow, the calf, and one of her show heifers from this year, all 3 of them. So all 3 of them went to his farm, so which is pretty good, because we were able to see the other cows that we had sold him in the past because I delivered them for him. And also, he only lives about 15 minutes from us, so our families get along real well. When they come over here, we show them around the first time, and when we went to deliver cows, it was basically the same thing. It was, make yourself at home, and we went over there. It was a 15-minute drive, and we were there for about 3 hours. So just talking with them and going over basically everything that they do. So. Are we going to smoke a turkey? No, we're not going to smoke a turkey because, for one, we don't have any turkeys here yet. The girls have been tossing the idea around whether or not we want to raise a turkey. I don't know if I'll lose that battle or not, but my thought is no, because I don't want to. I'm not a big fan of turkey anyway, so.
You could use it as a guard turkey?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Maybe a guard goose.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of turkey. I'd rather have beef, but
Chicken.
yeah, or chicken. So we'll see how that goes. And then, as far as calves are concerned right now, it's one of those things that, even with the way everything's going with this virus and everything right now, you want to continue moving forward. So, we need to look at producing more calves. We need to look at the other animals that we have around here and make sure things are going forward. But then the other side of it is, I can put calves on the ground right now, but I have nowhere to send them as far as to process them if it comes out as a steer. That way we'd be using it or it'd be a bull calf, but we always steer ours within the first 30 days. So, but like right now, all the processing plants around us are already booked all the way through 2021. So our next appointment even is clear to the end of September of next year for the group for next year. So and then like right now we're in a position where we're waiting. We signed a contract, I guess you would say, for a breeding pair of Idaho pasture pigs, which we raised 2 of the Idaho pastures as feeder pigs this year. We had them processed out. We've been trying the meat. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. So we actually had sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits this morning with sausage from that, and Michaela was bragging about how good it was all day. So we'd rather be able to eat the meat and vegetables that we grow around here and move towards being as self-sufficient as we can be, but we only have a limited amount of acreage around here, so we need to make sure that we are producing what we can, but also being a servant of the land too, and not overdoing it. So we make sure that we keep up on that as well. Yes, on the meatloaf, we do smoke the meatloaf. The recipe that I use, the base for that recipe I found on Traeger's website, and I use part of it and I change it a little bit to fit our needs, because some of it in there talks about rubbing a sauce on it, and I don't do that part of it. So and it only talks about using 2 pounds of burger and a quarter pound of sausage, and then it adds some sage and those kind of things to it. I normally just do 2 pounds of ground beef, and then a 1 pound of sage sausage, and mix it in with the other ingredients that are in there. And by the time it's over with, I don't put any seasoning on it, as far as, I don't put any sauces for ketchup or A1 or any of that stuff on it. I think it's got a good enough flavor to just eat it. So
Or chickens.
chickens are doing good. The laying's been getting a little bit better. We've been averaging about
I'd say 4.
roughly 4 a day. Sometimes a few more, sometimes
No less.
a little less, but on average we've been right at about 4 eggs a day right now. So
And sometimes we get double yogurts.
yeah, there's one of them out there, I think's laying some double yolkers right now, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. So, and then we have the 5 Australorps. They're not quite old enough yet to start laying, so once they start laying, then that'll add to the eggs as well.
Penguin's getting close.
And then the surprise chick penguin, the girls think it's getting closer because it's actually starting to get into the nesting box and move things around in there. But
It's been
so far we haven't noticed any eggs that are possibly from her yet, but it does tend to stay in the nesting box a little bit more often now than it was before. So pretty much the only one that we know of for sure that's laying on a regular basis is Katie. And that's just because normally you kind of have to move her out of the way to get the egg, because she's kind of broody, which could come in handy for us later if we wanted to attempt to allow her to actually hatch some eggs out for us instead of bringing them into the incubator. So, which would be a first for us. We've always used the incubator, so we'll see how that goes. And as far as the laying's concerned, pretty much right now, Katie's the only one that lays it in the nesting box. All the others tend to lay it in the corners, it seems like. So,
in the middle of the floor.
They make a nest.
yeah, they kind of dig around in the mulch and make a nest in the corners of the coop and lay their egg. So
Usually there's,
Yep.
if one of them lays, another one that's laying that day will go in that spot too.
yeah, and luckily we haven't found many eggs outside in the run yet. I think there's been like one
One that was
early
like
on
mushy.
that was one of like the first eggs, and it didn't quite have a shell on it. So we ended up increasing some of their calcium in their feed, and since then we really haven't had that much of an issue with that either. So Michaela has one of her crocheted items here. So
That's the one I made Taylor as a present.
yeah, she made this for her sister Taylor, so it's kind of a...
What do you call it?
It's
Uma.
a mermaid kitty, and her name is Uma.
Because of the hair.
Gotcha.
Will they ever lay in the bins?
Your guess is as good as mine on that one. In the past, we have tried things to kind of coax them into laying in the nesting boxes, where we've used golf balls, we've used the fake eggs that you can buy in the store. The nesting box that we actually have is what they would classify as a rollaway nesting box. So when they get in there and the hens are actually in there, there's a basket in there and it's angled forward, so when they lay the egg, in theory it would roll forward, and then you would just lift the flap up, be able to collect all the eggs, and it had the board would be able to go up and close to keep the hen in the box without her getting to you while you're grabbing the eggs. But back when we first started and we were raising Rhode Island Reds, that group that we had, they used that box, and it has 5 across the top row, 5 across the bottom row, so it's 10 nesting boxes all in one. And they used every one of those, and they were doing great. And that was, we had the group then that was there was over 70 hens in that group, and every single one of them used that box. Then we started hatching some out, and that next batch, it seemed like it was hit or miss whether they would use it or not. And then it just seemed like less and less of them hit every time that we would get a different batch of chickens. And this go around, we've basically got one of them that gets in that box and uses it like she's supposed to. You can eat double yolk eggs. They don't hurt you at all. I mean, it's just more yolk.
Yep.
So, and speaking of more yolk, that's kind of one of the reasons that next year we're going to be looking at possibly adding some khaki Campbell ducks to the mix. That way, ducks will have a bigger yolk to white of the egg ratio. So, everybody says they're better for baking. I like them as fried eggs. The girls like them as scrambled eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we do have one hen out there. I'm not sure exactly which one of them it is, but one of them is laying a double yolker, and I think it might be one of the Buff Orpingtons. So, let's see. So, we've been moving the cows through the hay field, because that's another question that always comes up between Brittany and I, is whether or not it makes sense for us to continue using the hay field as a hay field and baling hay, or does it make more sense for us to open that up and turn it into pasture and then purchase hay. We both have kind of mixed feelings on it. Currently, all we bale is square bales, so we need round bales for the cattle through winter. It just makes it a little bit easier on us, so we buy round bales. But this year, with the way the weather was, we actually were buying round bales and feeding them a lot earlier in the season, just because things weren't growing. So it was one of those that it was, we're getting to the point now, the size of the herd of cows we have, we need more places to put them. So the possibility of opening up that hayfield could change things for us. So we have to look at that and see financially what makes more sense, whether we're buying hay or whether we're using that. Because, if you open that up and you're using it as pasture, that also means you're going to be using, for us, we'd rotational graze it, so we would be using temporary fencing. So that means more step-in post or some kind of temporary fencing, whether we end up going to like a Premier One netting fence or continue using our rope fence. So, will we be processing chickens next year? Yes, we will definitely be processing chickens next year. And as of right now, the plan is to process enough chickens next year not only for our family, but to be able to add that to our list of items we sell at the farmers market. We have been checking in on all the laws that support that for state of Indiana, and we think that we can meet all of those criteria. That way we can start next year, and with doing that, they will be all Cornish cross hens that we're going to be, or not hens, but Cornish cross chickens that we are going to be processing out. So
Double yolk eggs are good for homemade noodles.
yeah, we definitely got to get onto the homemade noodle, especially for this time of year. It'd be nice to have some homemade noodles. I know in the past, when we decide that we want to have chicken and noodles, we normally take a trip up to Shipshewana and go to the bulk store up there.
Which actually, now that they sell them in the stores.
Yeah, and buy the noodles. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Well, let's see, what else do we have going on around here? We're still making that push towards increasing our subscriber numbers, so we want to thank you guys for helping us get there, because without you guys sharing our videos, sharing all of our posts and liking them on the different social media, because now we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So without you guys sharing us on all those social media platforms, then we wouldn't have been able to get to where we're at right now with our subscribers. It has been helping us tremendously. Now we're starting to get other YouTube channels to subscribe to our channel and communicating with us. So with that, that's another way that we've been able to learn, by talking with the other channels that do YouTube as to what editing software they're using, so that we could make sure we're trying to get that software. We were going to upgrade the camera that we're using. Instead of using my iPhone, that maybe we could actually get a little bit better camera for vlogging. So
And a microphone.
and an external microphone, and have a wind cover on that. That way when we're out there working the bees, or we're working something outside with the cows, you don't have to listen to the wind noise as bad as you do right now. So we're starting out from scratch, so we had to use what we have. We do have 2 different tripods we can use now with my phone, and even if we upgrade cameras, both tripods are able to be used with those as well, so that'll help. For those of you that are local in the area, the winter market for Greenfield is the 1st and the 3rd Saturday of the month, and it's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it's inside at the fairgrounds in the sheep barn. So that way it's inside, it's a heated facility, so come out and see us, support other local vendors that are there. That's one method you can get honey from us. The other method is to contact us and buy it from the roadside stand right out here in front of our house. But that's only by appointment only to do it that way. So let's see.
What about that famous apple
The
pie?
famous apple pie that I make, huh? Is that something that you could sell at the market?
Or your famous chocolate zucchini bread?
We're not sure on that, because the when it comes to selling food, you have to watch the different ingredients that are in it. There's
You just have to list them.
Yeah. Well, you have to list them, but you also, there's certain food permits that you would have to have for different things. So, I know when I was looking through the list for, how they classify us as a home-based vendor right now. So when we were looking at that stuff and about how to sell our honey, it listed and talked about like canning items and things like that. So like salsa was one of them that came up on the list that, if I remember right, even though I see people selling it all the time, that wasn't on the list that you were not supposed to sell. And it also talked about things that had eggs and milk in the ingredients that you had to have a different permit for. So they're just, for the most part, it's just taking the time to do enough research to see what you can and can't sell and what the laws and regulations and all of that recommendations are. Because it seems like the more research that we do about it, the more questions we have, not really the answers that we get. Because it really just depends on who you talk to as to what answer you get. And most of those are recommendations or guidelines, and it's all on how somebody interprets it, it seems like. So it has definitely been a struggle at some aspects of that. So we try to do what we can to just play it safe and not rock the boat on those things. So but it because I know, like one of the things that we see sometimes is that you're not supposed to sell, as a home-based vendor, you can only do single ingredient honey. And we've been to farmers markets where someone might have single ingredient honey, but it's not listed for sale by weight like it's supposed to be. The labeling is not to the standards that it's supposed to be, or it might have something else in there with the honey, which would make it more than single ingredient honey. And they sell it, and it happens, but we can't take that chance. So we're here to do things the way that we feel is responsible. So that's the best we can do at this time. So.
Next question is, are the girls going to sell jewelry?
The girls are working on some jewelry, some necklaces, bracelets,
And some earrings. Also.
and some earrings also. And then they are also, we looked at today, some stuff for them to make hair bows with. So they're going to look at that as another option as well.
You trying to get a pair out?
Alright.
Yeah, we have two pairs. Oh, in that one. Make sure they can see it.
Just hold them up by the little thing.
Alright, Taylor's going to show you one of her earrings that she's made. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Alright. Yep, so that will be some different things that we're adding to the list of things we sell at the market as well. So
You got some too, Michaela?
yes, yep. Michaela wants to show you some here.
And then also, if you like crosses, there's some.
And then we also have a bunch of other ones.
Yeah, okay.
That
Alright, so they've got quite a few that they're working on.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be able to add that to the mix. So. Alright. I think that's about. I don't see any other questions, so I want to thank everybody for being on the live with us tonight. And we will do one in the future. So I will try to put them on ahead of time like this one. That way I can schedule it ahead of time. That way everybody will know when we're going to do the live. And then we will, between now and then, we'll work on the software again and make sure I have it actually up and running. That way we can get this thing going the way it's supposed to and do the best we can. So that way I'll we'll see you guys on the next one, and we appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like and share our videos with all your family and friends, and ask them to subscribe to our channel as well. Yep. Oh yeah, Dolly, we did make some more things out of wood. I think you might not have been on when we went through those, but right before this video live started, I made these 2 snowmen out of 1 piece of wood. Let's see, not sure. That away. Are you able to see that?
Yeah.
All right.
Good. Can we show them the other one you made?
Nope. We showed them last time, so.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.